this copper. I'm gonna need this copper big time. Hi, welcome back to the Caleb Adamo channel. Today we're going to be looking at the new YoungBoy NBA album, Sincerely Kentrell, that came out technically a couple of days ago now from when I'm recording this review. So NBA YoungBoy is a 21-year-old rapper from Louisiana. Kentrell is YoungBoy's actual name, his actual first name, or Kentrell. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, sorry, but Kentrell is his actual name. And so going into this project with the title of the album being Sincerely Kentrell, I was really hoping that we were going to get some kind of deep, introspective, reflective piece of work from YoungBoy that maybe we hadn't heard from him before. And I think it's important going into this to highlight YoungBoy's recent work. So one thing you can't really discredit YoungBoy for ever is his work ethic. He's been putting out consistently a lot of projects over the last couple of years. So he put out 5 projects in 2020 alone. So the first one in 2020 he released was a project called Still Flexing, Still Stepping, a mixtape, which I did listen to, and it was a project that I genuinely saw the potential in. I thought it was good. It had some good beats, some good flows, and I saw why people were into NBA YoungBoy. Then he released a mixtape called 38 Baby 2. I never listened to that, so I can't really comment on that one. He also released his second studio album, Top. So the main thing that was memorable for me about this album was that it copied the Roddy Ricch cover from Please Excuse Me for Being Antisocial. I don't really remember many of the songs on there. I did listen to it when it came out. It didn't really stick with me much at all, to be honest, which was a bit disappointing. But I don't remember thinking it was terrible either. I don't remember thinking it was really, really bad. So we got a mixtape called Until I Return, which again, something I never listened to, and then finally we got a collab mixtape called Nobody's Safe with Rich the Kid. I never listened to that one either. Not a big fan of Rich the Kid. I don't really like his work in the past, and from what I heard, this mixtape wasn't YoungBoy's best work he's ever released either, so I don't think that I particularly missed anything on that. I might go back and listen to all the mixtapes from 2020 that I missed, just to see if there was anything good on there. But yeah, from what I heard, that Nobody Safe mixtape wasn't the best thing he's ever released. Oh, what's up that? Oh, I need a cup of tea today. Hey guys, so I'm about to play the new NBA YoungBoy album for the first time. It's currently Saturday. I'm driving to the shops and we're going to play it in the car together to see if it's a good album or not. Sincerely Kentrell, I think that's the name of the album. I'm not expecting a lot going in. I don't love NBA YoungBoy's music otherwise. I don't think it's the best stuff I've ever heard. But will it be something that bangs in the car? That's the real question. I'll let you know how I feel when I finished. I didn't hear this album until the day after it came out, and I'd been on Twitter and Instagram and social media and stuff, and I'd heard a lot of good things actually. Lots of people were hyping up this project, Sincerely Kentrell. Lots of people were saying it was really good. There were loads of memes about it being better than Certified Lover Boy and stuff.
Drake, the biggest rapper in the world. These niggas, yeah, Drake. Drake.
I was genuinely looking forward to listening to it and genuinely looking forward to kind of getting maybe something good out of the project, because so far from what I've heard from YoungBoy, it's been okay, but I've never been blown away by YoungBoy's kind of work or features so far, except on the new Tyler, the Creator project. Actually, that was really, really good, a really, really good feature from him. I can't remember what the name of the song that he was on. Was it What's Your Name? It might have been that one. Either way, it was a really good song and a really good feature from him. So I'm not going to go through each track one by one like I normally do with these reviews, because unfortunately it would just be me kind of repeating the same thing for every track. In a bit I will try and pull out a couple of tracks to discuss briefly, but through the 21 tracks, is that how many were on here? Yeah, out of the 21 tracks that were on this album, I'd just be repeating the same thing basically over and over. So I'm not going to do that for this. Unfortunately, the whole project for me, it wasn't great. I am going to go in on it a little bit. I felt that basically there were just 2 tracks on this entire project. There were just 2 tracks that he repeated over and over with very, very slight, minute changes. And to be honest, I think that he could have just released this as a 2-track EP or just 2 singles, and it would have been the same amount of quality content that I got out of it. So we either got this really kind of fast fire splurge of vocals over the same trap drums that NBA YoungBoy or YoungBoy NBA is quite famous and popular for doing, or we got YoungBoy's attempt at kind of crooning and being a bit softer and a bit more emo rappy, which was interesting, and I'll highlight one of those tracks in a bit. I'm not saying that nobody can enjoy all of the tracks, and I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that are going to really enjoy this project because they're going to enjoy every track. I didn't personally. It wasn't for me. I think that as I listened to plenty of these tracks, I did have my foot tapping, but by the end of the tracks, by the time we moved on to the next one, and then by the time the album had finished, it felt a little bit like trying to keep sand on a fork. I just completely forgot about it. It completely left my short-term memory, and I didn't really care to listen again. I tried to listen again. I listened to it twice in full. Tried to listen a third time. Couldn't really do that, unfortunately. I found YoungBoy's delivery basically on the whole project to be kind of irritating, more irritating than I ever have before. I haven't heard everything from him, mind. So I think that on this project it felt like often he couldn't be bothered to even finish some of his lines. Maybe it was just the way he delivered them. It felt really lazy, really like he didn't care where it was going, which was just irritating for me. I also really hated, one of my biggest gripes on the whole project was how some of the vocals were layered, so that before he'd even finished one line, the start of the next line had started to come in, and I found that really annoying and it really grated on me, and I really didn't enjoy that. It sounded messy and it sounded like he was just rushing to finish the track, really. I think that the vibe I got on this project was that YoungBoy is basically like a clone of Young Thug and Lil Wayne, but a poor man's rip-off of that. To be honest, I'd much rather go and listen to any Young Thug album or any Lil Wayne album than this album, to be honest. I think that YoungBoy is trying to be this hybrid of the two and trying to utilise these two sounds, but it just doesn't come off as authentic, it doesn't come off as interesting or good on this project anyway, for me. I have already touched on it briefly, but the production was forgettable and weak for me. Repeated the same track over and over, with a few different melody switches in the background, maybe some flute sounds, maybe a piano sound or a guitar sound, but essentially it was the exact same trap drums repeated over and over, and it didn't do anything special for me. Okay, we're going to try and pull out a few tracks, even though it is hard to distinguish between them because they all sounded the same. It's hard to pull out some good tracks as much as it is hard to pull out some bad tracks. They all just blend together into one mush of nothingness, really. First one I wanted to pull out was the song Toxic Punk. So this was the first time that I noticed YoungBoy doing something a little bit different. It felt a little bit like YoungBoy's attempt at doing kind of an emo rap song, an emo trap song. So it found it. Oh, I'm spilling tea on myself. Crap. Spilled tea on myself. Okay, hold on. Bear with me. What an idiot. What an absolute numpty. Right. Okay, so where were we? The track Toxic Punk. Yeah, like I was saying, I think it's something that you might find or might expect to find on like a Juice WRLD project, that kind of emo, singy, songy, rappy, and I appreciated that he was trying to switch things up. I appreciated that YoungBoy was trying to do something different. I didn't think it was done amazingly well. I didn't think it was standout. I just noticed it as something different, so I wanted to mention it because at least it was different, do you know what I mean? Then the next track I wanted to pull out was the song My Killer, which was actually the next track after Toxic Punk on the track list, and I did like the electronic, almost pan flute sounding melodies that were mixed into the beat, and I think that YoungBoy gave one of his best performances on the album on this track, personally anyway. If I had to pick one, this might even be my favourite track on the album. I think it was a decent song. Then the track Break or Make Me. Now this had a good beat. It had the exact same drum patterns and the exact same trap drums that had been all the way... Sorry, I'm rubbing my leg because there's tea on it. Anyway. My own fault, really. Shouldn't have been wobbling tea on my leg. Yeah, Break or Make Me did have the same trap drums that the rest of the album had, but I liked the guitar work in the background. I think it was genuinely really nice. If it had been a little bit more developed, maybe switched up a little bit, maybe come to the forefront of the production for a few times, and maybe there had been a better chorus over, or a better hook over the song, then I think this could have been really good. The theme of the song explored YoungBoy's feelings towards this woman, or this love interest who he's clearly interested in, and basically explaining how his lifestyle has left him damaged and he needs this person to be there for him, otherwise he could just kind of crumble or break down, which it was really interesting. It's essentially quite an introspective track, and I think that I'm not saying, even though I'm slating it, I really don't like it, I'm not saying that there's no substance at all to the music on this album. I think that YoungBoy delivers a number of really interesting verses, a couple of interesting personal themes. However, I just don't think he puts anything in a particularly new or interesting or exciting way. It's not very innovative, and the music surrounding all his themes and messages is so samey that it makes it hard for me to genuinely enjoy it. I just found myself not really caring about whatever he was speaking about. It just didn't bother me. I was quite uninterested, to be honest. And to be honest, if the one stipulation for good music was that the artist had to say something, then 99.9% of all music ever created would have to be categorised as good, wouldn't it? But I think that music is so subjective as an industry that I'm simultaneously able to acknowledge that this album is doing a lot for so many people, and also think that it's a bad piece of work, in my opinion. So good for YoungBoy. I'm really glad that he's succeeding with this album. I've seen that he's doing so many numbers in terms of it's on the charts, people are listening to it. It's actually competing this week with Certified Lover Boy for the most streams or sales. So I'm good for him. I'm impressed. I don't think it's that good. I think it's interesting in terms of popularity at the minute. Will it be something that sustains popularity, or will it be something that people forget about? I know that YoungBoy's incarcerated at the minute, and I'm not going to touch on that, or I'm not going to give opinions on the legal battle or the legal issue. I don't know much about it, and it's none of my business. It's not what I'm here to talk about. But I think it is interesting because of him being in the media a lot, because of his legal issues. It does mean that there's a lot more focus on YoungBoy than there would otherwise be, purely because of the media attention that being incarcerated or getting into legal trouble can often give. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not making a judgment on that, but it can give a lot of attention to people and to artists. If you look at the likes of 6ix9ine, Kodak Black, Bobby Shmurda, YNW Melly, who all had massively advertised in terms of media attention, legal issues, and because of that they were kind of centre stage in a lot of people's mind. And so when it came out to their albums that came out, well, their recent albums, or whenever they were incarcerated, or for instance Bobby Shmurda releasing a couple of features through the phone or whatever on a couple of people's album, I can't remember whose album it was on now, but everybody wanted to hear those. Basically everybody wanted to hear those albums, and they were selling loads, but everybody forgot about them pretty quickly and pretty soon afterwards. And I just wonder if this is going to be a similar thing for YoungBoy NBA. I just wonder if this is just going to be something people forget about in a couple of weeks. I'm not saying that any of those artists I just mentioned are trash or anything, but they are artists that are doing big numbers and have done massive numbers in terms of sales and interest. And so I think it's relevant to compare YoungBoy's kind of current status to those artists. But yeah, again, I don't want this to come across like I'm just having a go at YoungBoy. I didn't like the album. I think it was naff. I think it was rubbish, and I think there was nothing on there that I'm going to want to return to, nothing that I want to add to my playlists, and nothing that I want to listen to again. That being said, for so many other people, it is doing great stuff and people are loving it. I can't knock that, to be honest. Good for him. I'm really glad that he's succeeding, and I hope he continues to make good music, or music that people find good, and I hope he continues to succeed, because that's really awesome for him. So I just got back from my car journey, and I'm about just coming up to halfway through the NBA YoungBoy album. Oh, it's not good. I'm sorry. It's not good so far anyway, and it's 21 tracks long. It is a long album, and so far it's the same thing. He's got to be fair to him, he's got two avenues. He either goes down the slow melodic route, or he goes down the really fast, aggressive, trappy route. Either way, he sounds like he's ripping off Lil Wayne, Young Thug, in all the worst ways. I just don't get NBA YoungBoy. He sounded so good on the Tyler the Creator track from his album earlier this year, and I was really surprised by that. And I saw people saying, oh, why are people surprised about that? You know, NBA YoungBoy's really talented, he's got lots of ability, but I don't see it. I'm sorry, it's just, he's not that good. The way he kind of starts a line before he finishes another line is annoying. It's the same beat over and over. And if I wanted something like this, to be honest, I'd just go listen to, like I said, a Young Thug project or a Lil Wayne project or something like that. This is not something that I personally enjoy listening to all that much. It's just, it's hard to get through, to be honest. I'm feeling a 2.3 out of 10 on this album. Pretty low. I think that's the lowest score I've given to a solo album review video, or on a solo album review video so far. Yeah, let me know down below in the comments if you thought I was waffling or if you thought I was making any sense. Please leave a like on the video. Please subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you for watching. Cheers. Oh, let's try to drink this tea without spilling it everywhere now.